Make a motion, to open up the committee of the whole here. All right, let's go. Well, I'd like to introduce Paul Romano and Lisa Nagel here from our Harbor Point Committee. I've been working with them for about 45 years now, getting the committee going. I used to be a young stud
Young
when
lad,
this first started.
young lad.
No, how many years has it been?
10.
10 years, 10 years, yeah. I remember them days. But anyway, so they're going to give us a briefing on it, and the floor is yours.
All right, thanks. We also have Vin Gilroy, chairman of the.
And, geez, I'm
LDC.
sorry, Ben. I apologize.
I'm used to it.
All right, great. Well, yeah, nice to see everybody again. Paul and I just put together a very few slides to kind of show where we've been and where we're going. And oh my God!
Remind me later.
I don't know how to get there.
What happened to our guy?
Where's our guy? I'll get
He's in the back.
He's behind that screen.
Is it a touch screen? Can you remind me later? No, I don't think so.
That's funny. Can I get there?
146 days out of date, that's not bad.
It's good to see they upgrade this and move it right along. 146 days ago. Good.
Thanks.
We'll remind you later.
We'll remind you later.
In
Thanks.
146 more days.
Good Lord. Yeah, so for those of you who I don't know, Lisa Nagel with EDR. When I started this project, I owned my own company called Alon Planning and Design. But we merged with EDR out of Syracuse about 14 months ago. I'm a community planner, known Brian my whole professional life, I think, pretty much, when he was in Rome and now here. And I work with the LDC. Paul Romano was O'Brien and Gear, now Rambo. And then we have our attorneys in the back, Bob Murray and Melanie Murata from Harris Beach. And also working on our team is a Page Group, but they do help with some of the LDC meetings and meeting minutes, et cetera, with all of that. So we've been working, with the LDC for 10 years. We started in 2013. We started with a master plan with this team, where we've done a lot of engineering analysis. A lot of work's gone into this. This is we asked Jack and Sam asked us to come to kind of give an update of where we've been, but mostly where we're going. Some recent accomplishments. I don't know if you've been down there and peered through the fence, but the promenade is largely finished. We have a cool little video that Stephanie Wers and engineering took with a drone. We were going to show you that as well. So yeah, we thought we'd just go through this and see if you had any questions. Does that work? Paul is an engineer, but he's also an historian. And so we'll just we just want to kind of remind everybody where we start, literally where we started in 1905, 1907. It's kind of interesting history, actually.
I think you guys know this story, but sometimes I'm surprised that some people don't. But back in 1905, this started, but the city, the old Mohawk came as a big oxbow and came right behind where the train station is today, and went back out, and came back in where the treatment plant is near Leland, or just past Leland Ave. So that was an idea. I forget what mayor at the time that said we're going to move the river, we're going to straighten it out, straighten that oxbow out, because not only was this flooding this area, but this was pre-wastewater treatment, so all the Utica sewers went to the Mohawk, and things stunk down there too. So it was a matter of public health and flooding to get the river moved, and this was an action that required state level approval and everything. So the river was moved. I think it was finished 1907. I forget what the year. But when the river is moved, the old Erie Canal obviously went through Utica. Oriskany Street was the old Erie Canal. Utica wouldn't be here, in the size and scale it was, or any of these upstate cities without the old Erie Canal. And it ran through the city, through where Oriskany Street was, and then Barge Canal was proposed by the state. It was 1911, I think they started playing the barge canal, which was the big brother of the old Erie Canal. It was going to replace it. And the thought was, you know, a lot of the barge canal system would use the Mohawk River in certain sections, and you see that today, where the canal and the river kind of intertwine, and some portions of Mohawk are also the canal. That's what Uticans thought would happen. They thought the new river, straightened out river, would be the canal channel, but the state went ahead and said, no, hydraulically we can't do that. We got to build it parallel to the Mohawk River in Utica. So that's where that black line is where the canal ended up. Problem was, the Canal Commission at the time also proposed that the harbor facilities would be on that side of the canal, across the river, which meant at that time was not even Utica, it was Deerfield. So Utica was, so the harbor is getting far away now, and it was not even in the Utica anymore. So the Utica politicians at the time had a very big problem, and they went, I think this may be the next slide. Yeah, we skipped some history slides. They have more for pure history. But they went to the politicians. The politicians went to the state engineer at the time, and the Canal Commission and pleaded their case. And they say, we can't have a harbor, not in this town that far away, because this town at the time had 5 major textiles mills at least. Huge textiles mills. Is one of the worldwide center for textile production. So those mill owners had a lot of say too. So ultimately they were able to convince the state to, a unique idea here was to take the old the old river channel, old Oxbow, and bring the canal, bring a harbor, bring a branch channel up and create a harbor off the old river channel. And that, amazingly, that was approved by the state because that needed its own lock to function and everything else. So that's where you see our harbor today is actually part of where the Mohawk River was. So it's a neat story, very Utica story. Yeah, and then at the time, in 1917, when the barge canal system was finished, the first building built was this 1917 building, which, you know, we saved and is still there today. So it's a very historic building. We'll talk about what we had to do with that building at some point in this discussion. But there's that building, and then the other historic building. Now, when the state made the barge canal system a National Historic Landmark, all these associated facilities became historic buildings because they were associated with the canal. We had a bunch of other buildings on this site that didn't mean a lot, but we had to appeal to the State Historic Preservation Society, President SHPO, and they had appealed to the feds because now it's a National Historic Landmark. So in order, we had to appeal to them to try to get the rest of these buildings removed and save these 2 buildings. So the 17 building was saved with a limitation that the state gave us. I'll tell you that in a minute. But the other building that was saved was the 1933 building. This was basically a Works Progress Association of, Depression era building. It was actually built in 36. I don't know why it says 33, but it was actually built in 36. So both these buildings. So we have there with the original canal building, and then we have, the Depression era building, WPA building, which, is nice to have. But the 17 building, in order for us to demolish the rest of the buildings and redo the bulkheads, State Historic told us that not only you need to keep 17, but you need to maintain it and keep it in the exact original location, which was really problematic because we had to build a new harbor walls, and we had to move it. So the 200-foot long building, we had to move that whole thing against the fence at Holiday Inn, build the bulkhead wall, build a new foundation for it, raise it up, and then bring it back on the new foundation. So, and then we found all kinds of, floor beam problems with it. We had to fix those. So
There was no floor.
It's like a roller coaster.
Yeah, this was $1 million in moving and keeping that building, And that building, if you remember, is all bowed like this. When we put the steel under it to move it, it actually popped. and it made a, you know, physical sound, so anyway, those two buildings are there to appreciate today, and we're working on redevelopment, we're private people. Of course, on the other side was, you know, Utica Gas and Electric. This was where the coal gasification plant was, a giant one, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, in the Northeast. It later had a steam production plant, but this was, you know, this was the mess that in Niagara Mohawk and National Grid inherited. But this is where coal was converted to coal gas and fed all the gas lamps in Utica and everything else. So you know, this became a major contamination site on the other side with coal tar soils, coal tar going into the groundwater and everything. So skip ahead to 2006. National Grid has, you know, done a lot of their cleanup, but we're still seeing that, you know, Canal Corporation's occupying that land there. And for a good part of the history of the harbor, you know, what Uticans thought would be reusing the harbor was reusing basically the National Grid site, because nobody considered, you know, everybody considered Canal Corp was going to continue using the harbor. So we always talked about using this site, but it was legislation, I'm not sure if that's in the slide, but legislation 2008, Rowan DeStito. Yeah, well, it's fine. Yeah, go back to that one. So in 2008, Rowan DeStito was the one who pushed this for the state to give up, the Canal Corporation to give up their lands around the harbor and give it to the city. And the vehicle, you know, was not, you know, directly to the city, but the use of an LDC to manage the cleanup, to manage the redevelopment of the harbor point. So that legislation happened in 2008. And then 2012, I think the city entered into a RFP and brought in a consultant team that's still here today. Yeah, so 2016. So this is, you know, just a couple years after we got into this, a few years into it. So this is still relatively on the early end, but we had, you know, done some demolition in the front, but, you know, really Canal Corp was still occupying the site, and we hadn't started a roadway or anything else. So this was kind of this is more or less the blank template we.
I was gonna say, this is the blank slate that we started with.
Yeah. Yeah, and so there's a landmark designation in 2017. This became a National Historic Landmark. So this is, you know, a site that, you know, the Department of Interior, you know, UX, you know, United States, what's the other?
National Park Service.
National Park Service. You know, you can actually hang National Park Service signs in here if you wanted to at some point, but it has, you know, a very historic. And I would argue, you know, Barge Canal era, and that's the era of the listing, which is, you know, 1917 through 1960 or something, the industrial era of the harbor. I think our harbor is the best example of a barge canal harbor on the whole system. You know, it was one of the most industrial. It was also the only one that's really, if you look at what happened to the Erie Canal, is it became the barge canal. All the harbors throughout upstate went to the suburbs. Utica is the only one where the harbor, you know, is a quarter mile from downtown. So it's a very unique situation. It's the canal, it's the best reputation of, you know, reputation of the canal during that era. And it's something we need to make it the placemaking facility for the state. You want to do some talking? Or
Well, you
Yeah.
should just touch a little bit on this and how the dynamics of the area around the harbor changed when other people had purchased properties and our points of ingress and egress, like how that changed our original plans and moving forward, and how we had to adjust and.
Well, it's
I know it's,
yeah.
but there's, I
Yeah,
mean,
no,
I
no.
understand it, but I think
Yeah.
that it's
No, I
important
mean,
to understand
yeah.
why there's
Yeah.
been such a lapse
Yeah.
in time taking for us to
It-
move along with this project, knowing that
Yeah.
those things went in there and unfortunately it was out of our control.
Yeah, it's been a constant, you know, once there's been interest here, there's been developers have gone in and, you know, went and bought property that was, you know, that the LDC couldn't quickly enough move to get to, you know, to take control of. So it's been having to work with developers and landowners that were there, new developers and then landowners that were there and negotiate, purchases, negotiate land swaps, negotiate, subdivisions, there's a long process to make this vision happen, all these pieces, not to mention, cleaning up all the petroleum contaminant soil and everything, all these other hurdles that are out there. But that, certainly the land disposition and how we had to do that was a big.
But we don't have the original, I think Paul was referring to, we have an original property map that we started with from the beginning. And then assembling properties to sell, re-subdivide, I mean, all that takes time. But also, those bulkhead walls in the very beginning were, that price tag was about $5 million, and the bulkhead walls were failing. We had divers go down and they were failing underneath structurally, and we said, hey, if we don't have bulkhead walls, we got nothing, right? We have no harbor. So it took a couple of years, probably 2 or 3 years, to convince the state to give a grant to the city to redevelop those bulkhead walls. So that was.
Muscles too, that you couldn't,
The-
remember the whole muscle thing that we had.
Well, there was all kinds of hurdles to state, the bulkheads just, well, even we did Tremy concrete to build the bulkheads, which means it's concrete that you pour into the water. But, that raises the pH of the water, the DEC would worry about the fish, we had to monitor constantly. But, there's, we never killed a single fish, I don't think, But,
this was the master plan that we created in pretty much 2013, that's changed very little, actually. So to the credit to, the city and the LDC for the stick-to-itiveness of it, where we looked at the access points where, and we knew at this point that we probably wanted to keep the 33 building, which would be there, that's the 17 building. We knew we wanted to get rid of the other buildings, which.
Like parking spaces and stuff.
Parking, all of that. This is now, we'll show you later, but this obviously private development, with the road access points and, the rebuilding of the bulkhead walls. This is largely the vision that we had, that we developed in 2013, minor tweaks, here and there, to get it to where it is today. So, we're on track, but Brian said famously in the beginning, these are marathons, not sprints, but because of all those moving pieces, but. I don't know if you want to talk about the trails, because the next one's the trails too.
Yeah, lately we've been doing a lot of discussions with the trail system to link the Ray Hill, which I think we're calling it the Chenango, through the city now. And the idea is, and we brought the trail, the 10-foot walk right through here. We've created it all the way up the roadway. And now we have the next phase plans to wrap it around with the backside of what we call DSA 1, the old dredge spoils area, where the more new development's gonna be.
Is it settled?
The DSA 1 area, yes, yeah.
There's a,
They're doing their due diligence right now, the developer that the LDC's has entered into a contract with.
When did they enter the contract? Next year?
June, no,
No.
a month ago.
So the RFP went out, how many people responded?
Well, the RFP went out a while ago, and,
it's outside the RFP.
yeah.
Yeah.
Talking DSA 1?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no,
we did the
there were
RFP.
no responses.
I thought we got-
Patel, I believe, responded after the deadline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only other question, and I'll,
No,
I'll stop
no.
interrupting into this, but, so my biggest concern is like, okay, so we have the entrance into the harbor, it looks beautiful, the front part of it, everything looks nice. I go to Starbucks, right, so I take the left and I see how nice the harbor looks, and I said it to, Mary Lehman, what do we have to do as a municipality to get the doors open, so that at least people can go and enjoy the walkway, enjoy the water, and be able to look at the building, and it doesn't, you don't have to have much by water in order
Yeah.
to be able to enjoy it. So that's kind of why I wanted everybody here, to see if what we can do in order to help you guys move forward.
It's in the process.
I know it's in the process,
It's
Joe,
almost
but I mean,
all
it's
done.
gonna be winter by the time if we do something, so that's what I'm saying, like.
No, but,
to
so
move
we,
along a little bit.
Bob and Melody met with the Corp Council today to discuss this. And ideally, the LDC will convey the land around the harbor to the city, and it'll operate just like all your other parks, is the idea. In order to try to move this along, because there's a required waiting periods when a public authority has to, the LDC sells, you have to wait 90 days. Anyway, we can do a use and occupancy agreement with the city. And so that is something that Corp Counsel and the LDC attorneys will work on.
Because I mean, this is something that I think is important, even if we're at a standstill with the developers, and I said it to Mike, I'm like, we gotta do something, like, that, you know, we spend a lot of money, we're able to do it. So as long as they started talking about it and.
As of
that's something-
3 o'clock today.
Well, that's what I just wanted to make sure,
Yeah.
we got called this meeting prior to that, so
Yeah.
I appreciate that, the fact that the administration is moving forward with the LDC.
The mayor agrees that the priority should be on activating the harbor and the public areas of the harbor, and we're placing a priority on getting that done.
Okay.
Paul did mention that we still do have the promenade contractor is still out there on site. He has some punch list items to finish up. It's gonna take him about a month. So the site is still technically his site. But in the meantime, while he's finishing up his work, we can be hammering out the use and occupancy agreement.
People gonna be able to swim there? Or no?
Probably not.
Kayak.
Oh,
You fall off the
Kayak, there'll be a floating kayak.
Small vessels.
They'll be able to fish.
That's what they're waiting for. They have to finish the kayak pad. And that's to be done probably around August, and hopefully by then it's transferred over to us.
So, yeah, I mean, and I, you know, we
Get into the video.
Yeah.
we
yeah,
can do
yeah.
the video if you want. Is this getting boring?
Paul can talk until 9 o'clock.
Fine.
Fine. Just have to figure out how to.
Why?
This is that was the picture you were talking about, with the pedestrian bridge, right?
Yeah, right, we have one of the
I'm
concepts.
just gonna
that I-
disconnect for a second. because
We don't, and there's too much going on that's hard to.
Sorry,
discuss
hold
anything,
on, Paul, I
but-
just gotta.
But we have this idea that we want to do this loop the harbor kind of concept, put a bridge over the branch of the harbor and create a trail, you know, that loops the harbor, and then that'll be a great place for charity walks, you know.
On railroad tracks?
Over the
No.
over
No.
the actual
Oh.
channel of the harbor.
So you know, the harbor is spatula shaped, you know, when it comes down to the handle part, that, you know, that would be where the bridge would be, so that you can have a trail around the harbor and then cross the branch.
We had behind the 1917 building. and the
Yeah,
box.
yeah, exactly, it'd be like a, you know, truss bridge, like an old canal bridge look to it. And then we're working with the canal, and also another connection that brings it to the Empire State Trail, to the
That
canal
would be
trail.
pulled in, you know, that 1.5 million, wherever it was, for the trail for Broad Street, would that affect that?
We have, we had 2 million come in from the feds.
2.5 million.
That's all right.
Is it gonna affect that trail?
No, that's Broad Street separate project.
And it actually will connect.
I mean,
They will-
it's
they
close
will-
enough that they will complement each
Yeah,
other.
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a
Because you
great,
still have the
Yeah.
Erie Canal Trail that can go down and connect all those
Yeah.
components of
Yeah.
it.
yeah.
Paul, the other thing, I don't want to get on this,
Sorry.
can we go back?
Yeah.
Is, I want to talk about the fact of the possible overflow and working in conjunction with the state. The last flood
Over.
mitigation meeting that we had.
Oh.
I'll let her play the video.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
No, no.
Okay.
But you go ahead. It took me forever to figure this out. Go ahead.
So,
Yeah.
we had a discussion that the last time that it does flood over in that area, in the words of corridor. So, we were in discussion with the city when we mapped out our hotspots in the city of what floods and what doesn't flood. One of the concerns is that when Delta Lake is drained, the water goes to the overflow to us to here. So one of the things that I want to make sure of is that we're still in discussion and making the state aware that if they do that, all the development into this harbor could potentially be flooded. So that's something that I wanted to just, and I don't know if you had an update on that, and
Well, current conditions, the flooding, you know, there's gonna be flooding here, whatever. you know, every, hopefully 25, 50 years, you know, you're gonna, you know, have a major flood. But the way we do this.
Every week.
The way we're designing, what's
That's all
happening with
fish.
the 33 building and 17 buildings are being designed with flood resiliency. So we've already raised the 17 building, we're gonna raise the interior floor to 33 building, and they're gonna be designed so you can recover from a flood quickly. And any new buildings will be raised up so the flood, you know, won't impact them in that way. As far as what you're talking about, I'm glad you remember, is, you know, yeah, Canal Corp's looked at a bigger plan. They know that, you know, when they release Delta, it comes into the Mohawk and it, you know, has an impact on us. It always did. It always had an impact on Utica. They're looking at some big ideas to create some detention, you know, off the river and to slow down the flow to Utica.
So that was, so detention ponds along the edge.
Yeah,
of the
major,
water.
like inline detention, offline, you know, storage, whatever, you know, to try to create. So that's in the reimagined plans. And if they get the money, you know, we have inquired lately, you know, because we heard Mohawk River might be getting $100 million or something
I
from the
remember,
feds.
yeah.
We've heard that from, might be coming, Marion Bunch mentioned it. We don't know if that's gonna happen, but if they do get money like that, then maybe those ideas can come.
Well, we've kind of been on pause because the state
Yeah.
actually kind of took the
Yeah.
this area of ours, and took a little bit of the initiative for the flood
Yeah.
component. I mean, I don't know if they had that meeting, I know we were in a bunch of emails,
Yeah.
and they just had a meeting, I think it was maybe a month ago, and I couldn't attend, but
Yeah.
I didn't know if you went.
I
Somebody
didn't-
from the state, I can't remember her name, but she was, I know
Okay.
we were in a chain of emails.
Okay.
But I didn't know. if there was
But the
any-
Canal Corp, the last, I did get an update, you know, they're rerunning their old models, they're updating them. And the purpose would be for, looking at other flood control ideas and also warning, or their early alarm system. So when we do have a flood coming here, we know way in advance, you know, that we can, yeah.
But plus, on those two buildings, they're raised now. On the one building, the bottom part is gonna be a parking lot, correct?
Those are flood zones.
Right.
So the way-
Right.
Sam, I know, I've been on this for 6 years, I know what they tell me every day. So they've already raised that,
Right.
so, right,
Yeah,
right, no, I know that.
yeah, it'll be, exactly, yeah, raised up, right, yeah. No, this, you know, and that's what you do, and you mentioned also too that,
That's why KFC is so high.
yeah, what they will do, once they get the early warning system better, they will depress the water levels in the harbor prior to a storm so that we gives us more storage, so that's it, but yeah.
This is, I'm not gonna go into full screen because that seems to throw me. But this was, so during construction, we walked out there with the LDC. But I brought this up because you can see, so now the building has been moved back on its new foundation. And you can see how high it is from a, you know, flooding standpoint. Here's the road under construction, so the building was back here. And now the building is back. You know, at this point, some of the concrete, you can kind of see off in the distance there, the building foundation. And then I'll show the video, but, you know, here's some pictures. We were just out there, 2 weeks ago, I guess. You know, beautiful, actually hand-designed railing, came out very nice, locally made.
Well, that's what I'm saying, it's so nice. I'm
Yeah.
kind of aggravated, like, it would have been nice to be able to enjoy something, you know. this
Well, the
summer.
contractor's not quite getting there. Was it this picture? I don't think I have a picture of it, but off at the end of the 17 building is going to be the kayak launch, and the contractor's not finished putting that in yet, so they're not off-site. So it'll be mid-August before the contractor's off-site, or then we can get on-site. Or really open it up, but, you know, these are all impervious pavers, pervious pavers. So when rain hits it, the stormwater is going right in, which is common in the city. So that's,
And are the design guides still the same, design guidelines?
we have
still the
design
same
guidelines.
For any new development, so on and so forth, so they're still similar to how all those buildings, if they were to come,
Yep.
all can fit into one another?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. It's another, we left, I mean, these are like the highlights. We left a lot.
And I know that it's under SHPO, but is this still under scenic and historic, or is that separated from
It's not
the
scenic
city for
historic.
the design?
It's not
guidelines?
Scenic and Historic. But the city does have a memorandum of, or a letter of resolution with SHPO stated.
I remember that.
So the city, LDC, and so when those buildings are redeveloped, the developer will be required at like 35%, 50%, 75%, 100% to coordinate with SHPO on any and all improvements. So the architects that they've hired are coordinating currently.
Did we ever put the design guidelines for the entire North Genesee Street corridor?
We did not.
No, this is just the ones we ordered just for the
And I
harbor.
guess that was another question that I had. Is it a possibility, I mean, I know that there's new,
Should be an overlay
with the
district.
development of, I think it's.
Yeah, you would have to create them separate, but yeah.
The North Genesee Street corridor, I mean, we could just copy the design guidelines and implement them on Genesee Street. I know other old structures won't be affected by it unless they're rehabbing the building, but I think there's something that we
Expand the district.
Yeah,
something that we
Certainly.
should.
and then,
Can you make that look big screen?
What's that?
yeah. So
Push the movie.
when
Play the
I,
movie.
so when I start, you'll see, so remember that this project was really, just the promenade, and here's the sidewalk, trail, road. This area up here is this is the DSA one. This area right here, we want it to be grass, but anyway, it's concrete. It's a little nudge against Paul from me.
That's the second time she said.
But the idea here is a large piece of public sculpture that will go in here.
Who's the sculpture gonna be on?
Me.
I thought it was Paul.
not me.
No,
Paul
Vin.
and
It's gonna be Vin.
Vin, for
It's
sure.
gonna be Vin.
Vin.
Vin Gilroy. So it's just a minute and 22. It's a little loud, so I don't know how to turn down the volume on this thing, but anyway, I guess plug your ears.
TV, but.
Yeah. No, it's totally. I don't think I did that.
I don't think so.
That's what it
This
is.
is just, yeah, but.
That's a good question, Sam. Railing came out really nice. It's beautiful railing.
This was commissioned by Stephanie Wars, it's her friend, Rasucci, what's your first name? Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
So the area from the brick back would be part of the private redevelopment. That's why it's,
So does the 1933
Mohawk Valley Garden.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
I think it is in Selma.
It's definitely on Sloan.
And hopefully, when this gets open to public too, and we remove all these, I think the hotels can remove these vinyl fences and get all rid of this, brush in here. Anyway, yeah.
So when's it gonna be open to the public?
They just said, I think, October.
No.
October this year?
Mid-August, the contractor will be off. Right now, your corporation council, city's corp council, is working with the council for the LDC to do a use and occupancy agreement.
So because they don't
And
have
then,
insurance,
but we can't do it, nobody can get on there till mid-August because the contractor's not done.
the LDC doesn't have insurance, so the city has to take on the liability of the insurance in order for it to operate.
Here's the kayak launch will be up here, there's just stuff on the land, the docks, big heavy like ramps that are gonna go down to floating docks. And they had to pour concrete, and create the access.
Just to correct you, the LDC does have a liability insurance policy. It's not as
Just
broad
not
as the city.
Coverage, the coverage enough that could open this by themselves.
Okay.
Questions, do we have chance?
No,
Yeah.
it's
Kayak.
not boat launch, just kayak.
Oh, wait.
Kayak, like car top?
Not boats?
No, kayaks, car top launch.
And you can't put an engine boat in there until the lock works.
Yeah, if I can chime in with a couple questions. I remember the financials that came up 2 years ago with the comptroller's office, and there were concerns of, I think it was like 2 million over, but some of the recommendations were for a multi-year financial plan. Has that, what was executed since that date? How are the financials? And
Well, we've got DSA one under contract. So, that'll be, once he gets through his due diligence, we close on the property.
So the projections have been coming in closer
Yeah,
than,
and then the 33 building has kind of changed a little bit. Not at liberty to discuss, but that project's changing, well, not drastically. It's
That one's a
gonna be
plus.
coming right along as soon as we get a grant that we can apply for.
yeah, and the $2 million Canal Corp grant, where does that stand? Is it finalized, or when will it be
My
started?
understanding, last time I spoke to Canal Corp representatives, is that it's being reviewed by the various departments within.
So it's in
Canal
their
Corp,
hands.
Legal,
What was the question?
operations.
We got a $2
$2
million.
million Canal Corp
Oh,
grant.
okay.
Yep, so just, yeah, where that stands. Okay, yeah, those were mostly mine.
It's
And
also
we do have
available on-
interest in the 17 building
Okay.
also, so frankly, in 2 years, we could be full. Right, so it's coming along now that COVID's done and all the other stuff's done.
So everything's locked up down there now? Is that how that,
Yes,
but people can still access it?
No.
you're not supposed to.
But what if somebody like did fall in or something, or what happens then? Is it
Well,
locked? or-
liability insurance, but it's locked and locked gate.
So we all, like, safety wise, public safety already can get in there and take care of things if they need?
The police have to give a key, right?
There's DPW has the lease ring key, so I'm assuming the police can get it that way.
So we're not gonna open that until we
Yeah.
have the agreement with the city where we can protect it, right?
Makes sense.
We're talking about it today, do you get rid of the gate or do you dusk, keep the gate there until the buildings are done? And there's more activity down there, so during the day, like all the parks,
Right.
you can go down there, but as soon as it's dusk, you kick them out like you leave. You're not gonna keep everybody out of there, unfortunately.
Interesting. Thank you.
Joe, you any questions?
And you still have all your finances recorded to the parish reporting system as well?
Always.
So those all should be worked on there.
Did you get your drive over that water, Joe? Did you get your driver over that water?
Frank, you all set? Dennis?
I'm good.
Bill?
No, I'm good.
Bart?
Good.
Sam, anyone?
Thank you.
Just can you kind of give us an update, the next update, once you come up with an agreement with the city and,
Mhm.
Yeah.
what's our next, I guess that's another, the one last question that I have. What are the next steps after moving forward with the LDC? So like how much longer, and I'll call you the alarm group because it's, as I
EDR,
remember,
yeah.
as I
Or in
remember,
charge.
and congratulations,
thanks.
and hopefully,
It's good.
and it does look beautiful down there, and I know that it's a lot of hard work that went in. So what are our next steps?
I
moving
think
forward
we're
with
gonna
the
have the
LDC?
use and occupancy agreement in front of this group. I'm looking at Bob and Melanie and Brian at your August 7th.
Well, I think there's a question of what necessarily needs to be done. It may not need council approval.
Oh,
I
okay,
think that's one
right.
of the
Yeah, I don't know.
questions, what we're doing to be able to open that. So as soon as that is figured out, I mean, then it'll be open. After that, it's gonna be a matter of finalizing descriptions and getting the property transferred and getting it into the city's name and finalizing everything with maps and engineering, so.
But it'll be opening before we transfer. Right,
Correct.
under the other agreement, so we're looking at August 15th.
Oh, cool.
As soon as we get the contractor off the site, we're looking at opening it up.
Awesome, and then like as far as like, and I meant like after, like, what's the timeline for the 1933 building? What's the timeline for the DS?
The SA1, they're
property?
doing their due diligence right now, so they're on site. They've given us a deposit, they're checking the quality of the dirt and all that as to what their plans are on that. They have 120 days to do that,
Mhm.
and once that's done, we should go close.
And then what, are we still on the other side of the National Grid property? Is that still on task for
Yeah, we just
maybe
bought,
some
we
turf
have an
fields?
agreement that we haven't signed yet to buy.
Jones Chemical.
Jones Chemical.
Oh,
We
okay,
own
that's a
another
building
piece
that
of
does a
property
building,
over
okay.
there, but our hands are tied until National Grid.
Have you used
leaves
any
the
ARPA
site.
funds? Because I know that there was like $10 million, $8 million allocated in ARPA funds to this parcel. If so, what was used? I haven't gotten an update on that.
There was an ARPA allocation for some of the costs for the Elan team. How much of the ARPA went into the promenade, I'm not sure.
For construction?
Yeah.
For 3.8 billion.
And then what is that getting us as far as the other side of the harbor where the National Grid property is? Are we-
That was for the construction of the promenade.
Yes.
That's the contractor's still working on.
No, I know, I'm talking about the National Grid property, on the other side.
No ARPA has gone into that as of yet.
Okay, so then let me change that question. What do we have developed? Are we still on task to develop that for some turf fields, so on and so
Yes.
forth?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Because we've I saw Dutch Travel Baseball, I mean, we've gone to several places, and it's like an up and coming thing, trying to get these fields going, because I think having people come for tournaments, being able to stay at the hotel on the water. So what's our timeline for that? Do we have any?
The National Grid is it's slow with them.
Yeah.
But we are,
Here's
the
the-
difference now is they are master planning this with us, with the LDC. And so they are partner in the multi-use fields, and they wanted this a success story too, so.
Oh, so they actually want to be a part and help building it for?
Well, and maybe.
Help master plan it.
Master plan it, I don't know about help building it, cost for master planning it, being a partner in long-term, because they probably won't sell the properties, we long, like 99-year leases. But they've come on board as to say the multi-use field concept is something, they feel is acceptable within they have rules, PSC rules and everything,
Who's still the head of national, who's your contact person? for
Well,
National Grid?
not a head, he's just our coordinator.
Rich
Fox.
Fox is on
Sits
that.
on the LDC.
Oh, he's a.
Yeah.
I see.
And he's been great, so Paul and I talk with the grid, him and the grid folks once a month, which we never really, they were hard to bring to the table admittedly, but they've been very good lately. We've been meeting once a month, and like here's the substation that they're relocating to power the city of Utica. They were gonna put right where we wanted to have the multi-use fields, and so we were able to work with them to move it over towards the river so that we still have this area for the multi-use fields.
And then you're gonna keep, what area for public parking is?
It's just off of here, I don't know if I have.
Where Sam, in the, Jones Chemical is gonna be a 400-car lot.
Oh, it is gonna, okay, 'cause
Yeah,
I know
so
that we lost parking.
it's
so I
not
guess I'm
drawn
just
here,
kinda
but-
asking where the
Yeah.
public parking was
Right.
actually gonna go.
And then we
Right
ended
here.
up, after you left, we ended up, fitting
Put
in
my
that.
foot down, I didn't wanna.
Yeah, no, you
stagger
were
you.
big on, you were big on that, I know, the third, but we did get a 30-car lot right near
Oh,
the
that's
promenade, and
outside.
a 60-car lot near the 17 building, so that we did, we get more parking right at the water's edge too. But
Yeah.
the big lot's gonna be at Jones.
Right here, it's not drawn on this image, but yeah, about 300, little over 300 cars.
Cool.
Yeah.
Your attorney there, do they wanna say anything? I feel bad, you're just here for the ride?
We had an LDC
Here for the
meeting
show.
earlier.
Thank you for coming, sorry. You know?
If they're not saying anything, it means things are going smoothly.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
I've never met Bob in person, only on speakerphone.
There you go.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, good, let's go.
All right,
And if you need us for National Grid or anything like that, keep us posted.
We will.
Thank you.
We may need.
I make a motion to complete the meeting.
That's it.
Second.
All right. We're, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock at the meeting.
And, Judge, you got something to say?
If I could take just a moment of your time. There's two things that are council matters that have to be attended to. You all got my email that I have informed the two county election commissioners that they have to complete our map. I haven't heard from either one yet, but I'm going to go there Friday purposely to find out if they haven't done it, that maybe they can do it while I'm there. Plus, I want to give you a copy of and attach to the legislation an address and place of every polling place for the upcoming election. Secondly, as you know, the Spectrum contract is to some extent a common council matter, and there are two things that we have to do by federal law. Number one, you have to pick a committee. The Common Council has to put together a committee of citizens, and you'd have somebody from the school and any other government body that's involved. You would definitely have a school board member because they're involved. And you would have somebody in the community who has some experience in that area. I was trying to find out who was on the last committee. Quite frankly, it wasn't done in writing. I don't know why the feds have it right in the legislation. This is federal legislation, as the other one is too. So, and the second thing we have to do by law, we have to have a public hearing before that contract can be entered into. I have spoken to Mr. Brown about it, and he and I sent him a stack of papers, almost used the ream of my copy machine, of all of the rules and regulations regarding a franchise like Spectrum. So they're going to keep me, the administration's going to keep me informed as when Spectrum sends a proposal. And you have to think about people you would, maybe at the August meeting, we will form the review commission, and you have to bring me names so we can put it in the form of a resolution as part of our legal responsibility under federal law. So if there are any questions about this at any other time about either matter, you'd be free to contact me or talk to me about it. That's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to resolution number 1, authorizing sale of beer and wine to ICANN. Everybody okay? Yep. All right.
Brian, the only question that I have is, when will the new ownership take over for Valley View to hold a beer and wine license? Do we know?
I'm not involved in that.
He's, I don't know about the license itself, but he should be getting in within a couple months.
Okay, so then in the meantime, we'll just continue as a municipality, obviously, to take the beer and wine coverage for that. Okay, thank you.
All right, number 2, Councilman Irvin. You okay with that, with the 2 lots?
Yeah, well, I think it's more than, how many is it? Yeah, that's
Miller
good.
Street?
We went over that in on the URA, so I'm good.
Okay.
The only question I have is that we're okay for a $0 price? I mean, usually we just transfer the property, or is that the purchase?
Yes, it's, that particular sale is no consideration because we're a partner in the development of the housing that's going to be put there.
Okay.
And I guess we should clarify that there was an error on the application. A couple lots were left off, so we're just reaffirming.
Yeah, I thought we did it for $1 though, at the last one, to the Empik Horn Hill LLC.
I think it ended up.
But I thought the last parcels that we did we did it for like $1, because we didn't want to leave it at $0.
Yeah, again, I think there was discussion to that effect, but I think it stayed at 0.
The last one? Can we double check?
We gonna put this in committee, or?
No, I don't mind keeping it in committee. If it's $0 from the last parcels that we saw, I just want to be consistent on the properties. That's it.
I mean, it doesn't include all of the properties, it's just those few, so we already have the $1, so if it's $1 for all of them, I mean, it really is not gonna make It's different. If it was $1 for the other one,
It applied to these four lots.
Okay, then why don't you just rescind and redo the last one and add all the parcels together so that it was under one sale?
because we technically have to hold a new public hearing.
I don't see why that would have been an issue, to hold a new public hearing, but.
Okay.
6-1 half the-
Number 3, Councilman Irvin. For Impact Cornell, you good?
Yeah,
LLC?
Yep.
All right. Councilman Burmaster, he's not here. Whitesboro Street?
I do have questions on this. So this, and it's attached to the Masonic one for the next one, right?
Yes.
So, how did it come to this? Can you explain the 7,500 and what the deal is then in the end?
So this is not the purchase price, this is the exercising of an option contract, based on a number of provisions, that both, Masonic was, looking for, as well as the city. We felt it was in everyone's best interest to do an option contract instead of an outright sale. It gives them an out if they choose to. But it's a 3-year option contract. To exercise the option, it's a $7,500 deposit. We have negotiated some terms as far as a final purchase price. And based on previous discussions, we had some discussions as to what the final sale would be. We renegotiated that with them. It's now a $300,000 cap. So we won't exceed that cap, but we have some flexibility not to just have the, I think it was 100 and,
They'd originally offered $135 to purchase the property. We were concerned that it's a 3 years, given what's going on in the neighborhood in terms of development, the land that we own, that the city owns down there could conceivably
increase in the market value,
considerably.
So in these 3 years, do we still mow it and we maintain it, or do they?
It's our property. They have, but they have an option to conduct any due diligence
So they,
and
if they
obtain
need to
any
remediate the land, they still can?
Say that
If they
again?
remediate the land right now, they still can?
The land's remediated already.
I thought that was like part of why they couldn't start building it.
There's other parcels involved.
In their sale that are
adjacent.
separate from us, which is partially their reasons for holding off on confirming that they want to purchase the property, and their hesitation with, if they purchase it and there is problems, they don't want it.
So we take care of the land then until it's officially sold?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, number 5.
And I guess I should just point out, if the legislation in committee for the sale should be discharged. Proposed ordinance number 5.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. All right, so number 5, basically the same thing, right?
Well-
The resolution, it calls for the public hearing on your meeting on the 7th, so the ordinance approving the option and the sale for those last 2 properties would be put into committee until the public hearing.
I'm suggesting there is in committee for the sale of MMRI based on the old purchase price, so that should be discharged.
So the proposed ordinance number 5 is 117.24.
Put
So we
that
just
co-
gotta discharge that. That's
Yes.
right.
Okay. All right, number 6, Councilwoman Aiello, no parking at all times.
Yeah, number 6 through 13 are all part of the same package. Captain Holt's here to explain, I guess, if you would like to, for the Wynn Hospital plan.
We're good to go with that? Deputy Noonan, we're good?
Good to go.
Okay. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
And 13 is part of this too.
Okay, 13. Well, there's no person on it, so
Oh, yeah.
you gonna put your name on that?
Yeah, that'll be all set.
Okay. All right, number 14, authorizing sale of beer and wine, St. Mary of Mark Carmel Blessed Sacrament Church. I think it's this weekend, getting close. Everybody good? All right. 15, St. Rosalia, this is probably in August, yep, August 23rd. Everybody good? All right. 16, Councilman Vitar.
So Forest Hill Cemetery in South Utica is in the process of applying for a historic preservation grant. This proposed resolution is simply stating that the council supports the grant application. I would request full council on this. I don't know if
Yes.
anyone has questions about it.
Yep. Yep, I wrote a letter for him, so, yep.
Thank you.
Full council? Yep. Okay. Number 17, resolution approving intermunicipal agreement with the county for habitability inspections for temporary housing.
I prepared the resolution. I can have Marcus touch on this, what the agreement is with the county. It's separate from what we've currently been doing. I don't know, Marcus, if you want to just touch on
Yeah,
this.
so part of our contract with the county is that, we inspect motels for their temporary shelters. We do it quarterly. I think this is just codifying that and breaking that out from our current agreement, which involves a whole bunch of other things. Initially, I was worried about breaking out the two agreements because I was worried that going forward we'd be short, but this amount is equal to the amount we're getting now anyway. So whatever happens with the current agreement we have with the county, we're not out any money. We have the capacity and ability to inspect more motels. We're good at it. Officers are trained in it. So it's kind of, in my opinion, a no-brainer for us because.
So full council, everybody?
I just had a question on it.
Okay.
Is this a contract that the county has with the different hotels in the area? And our job is just to go inspect it to make sure it's.
Yeah, so the county, when the homeless shelters are full or a person's ineligible to go to a homeless shelter, they put them in a hotel. In order to put them in the hotel, in order to take county money, the hotel needs to go through quarterly codes inspections to make sure that it's a safe place for people to go and stay and they have all the accommodations a shelter needs. So the county has no capacity to inspect them, so they use the codes department to inspect those hotels.
So this is just solidifying the agreement?
It's an agreement with the county within the city. It's not other entities. It's our intermunicipal agreement that we're agreeing to provide
With
these
the county.
services
But
to the county.
You're saying it's solidifying the current agreement.
No, I said it's just solidifying the fact that you're gonna do inspections for the county.
Yeah, which is already in our current contract.
Right.
So full council?
I just had
Full council.
Well, I just had a question as well here.
Okay.
Are there any additional insurance policies the city will have to take out and list the county as additional insureds, anything like that to look out for?
If there is, it should already exist because we're already inspecting hotels.
Okay, so nothing
This just broadens the
additional.
scope of how often we're gonna do it and how many we're gonna do.
Okay, so it'd already be existing. All right, thank you.
All right. Number 18, resolution providing for public hearing on discontinuance of Cornelia Street. I thought we did this.
So I will clarify, we did already discontinue a portion of Cornelia Street. There's another portion that we need to discontinue, and I apologize for not having a map. I'm not the attorney in our office handling it, but I have the proposed map, and I'm sure Nick can also speak on that. Essentially, what you can see from mine, there's a pink section is what we're discontinuing. On mine, it's the rest of the portion. We have already discontinued the orange portion. We are retaining a easement for ingress and egress of the entire portion, and then we're also retaining a easement for sewers. Is that all correct?
That's all correct.
So, this is just finalizing all of that. I know this has been very confusing. We've done a lot with Cornelia Street, but I think we're all settled, have everything figured out, so this is where we stand. Any questions about that?
This is a full.
Pretty much been closed there already anyway, right? I mean, are we using it at all, or is it?
PD uses it for their maintenance building
Uh-huh.
as their main entrance and exit.
Are we still gonna be able to use that?
That's
why we're
keeping easements of right of ways for
Ingress and
right of way,
egress.
egress, and then also sewers.
Are
This-
we gonna plow it? I mean,
No, the part of this agreement is so that now the county or the hospital has to plow it.
Maintain it.
Yep.
Is this full council?
Just a logistic question here. Purposes of the public hearing, proposed resolution number 18, I think the memo recommended 6 weeks out. Would September 4th work for purposes of the public hearing on this?
Yeah, I mean, depending on
Is that the first Wednesday in September? Is that about 7 weeks, or would that timeline work?
Yeah, we're not in, I shouldn't say we're not in a rush. It just needs to all get done and moving, so, yeah. Correct.
So is this full council before you move on, or we good?
Yeah.
All right. Nineteen, ordinance providing for that's the same thing, so keep on moving along.
Yeah, 18 is the public hearing.
Number 20, authorizing sale of beer and wine for the Soul 112 restaurant. July 20th, Luau Cookout, Liberty Park, 158 Genesee Street. Any questions? That's your area, right, Katie?
Yeah, I'm all set with this.
Okay. Resolution approving and endorsing Munson in its application in New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation for historic restoration of fountain elms. Everybody good? Full council? All right. Number 22, ordinance waiving residency requirement for a position of office manager.
So I sent this piece of legislation down. Other than the information provided in my memo, I was asked to prepare it on behalf of the assessor's office. I don't have much more than what was provided me in my memo regarding this piece, unfortunately.
I talked to her on this, and it's actually a Utica address. And she didn't realize until after she purchased the property, it's a Utica address, but I think it's a Deerfield tax. But she didn't realize it until after she had purchased the property.
So we should put it in committee until we find out more?
Frankfurt, or excuse me, Frankfurt. I mean, she already works there. She's been a good employee. She didn't understand that it was, I mean, you can't tell her to sell the house. She's already bought it.
Well, exactly. So should we put it in committee to find out more information on it? And,
You're gonna find out.
well, I don't know.
I mean, I'll vote on it now. I don't have a problem with it. It's a Utica address, right? It's a Utica address. I mean. And she's already working here now. She's working here now.
She's been here, what, a year, two?
She's under good, typically I don't like to do this, but it is a Utica address. I know I complained about this at the last.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be my
last
question.
meeting. But, you know, it was an honest mistake. I don't have a problem.
Who does she, actually she work for?
Assessor's office.
Assessor's office, and they're good with her, and they're good with all this?
Well, what's everybody want to do? We put it in committee, or we just vote on it tonight? You gotta have nine approvals, you know?
I'm all right with it. I just. Everybody all right with it?
Okay.
We're good?
Everybody seems to be all right with it. I'm all right with it.
Good? All right. We'll move along. Number 23, authorizing sale of beer and wine to Taylor and Cook. This is on July 28th, Sunday, for Bags Tavern Park. Everybody good? Number 24, ordinance amending the zoning of code entitled definitions.
So I can speak on this, and this just came up, so I apologize for sending it down late. I was working with codes and just going over some stuff, and I happened to be reviewing the definitions, and I noticed that there was a typographical error after comparing two of the definitions. So the legislation is just correcting that. It was my
One or the other instead of all of them.
Yeah, so and it was my understanding that it was the council's intent that you wanted, obviously, if they're selling any one of those or some combination of those, you wanted those to be included, but technically as it reads, yep. So, and obviously the definition of neighborhood retail does include the or, so again, it was just a typographical error. We want it corrected to avoid any problems going forward, if any. So.
We're all good? Number 24, everybody's good? Okay.
And then 25 is the same thing, it's just,
Oh.
the definition exists in the licensing section of the code, so we just have to correct both definitions.
Everybody good? All right.
What about,
We gotta go, we gotta see what's in the committee now. So number 3, we're gonna discharge?
No, 5.
5.
And then proposed resolution number 2.
So 3's getting pulled
Yep. Dated 7/1/24.
and 5's getting discharged. Any questions? Everybody good?
Nope.
All right. Anything else that needs to come out of committee? We're good? I make a motion to,
I'll second it.
there you go.
Order, the city clerk will call the roll.
Aiello, Bitar, Carcone, Irvin, Beatrice, Williamson, Classimo Testa, Lemetico, Giruzzi, present.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence for deceased members of the Common Council.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Does the chair hear a motion and a second to dispense with the reading of minutes from the previous meeting?
Thank you. Thank you.
We have a couple people signed to speak. First one is Gene Walker. Hi, Gene. Common Council has provided you a copy of Section 3244, public comment period. Are you in agreement with the rule?
Yes, I am.
Please state your name.
My name is Eugene Walker.
Thank you.
Okay, I understand that we have only 3 minutes, which is not enough time to bring you all good news. I am here with some of my neighbors from Addington Place. I'm going to ask you to stand up, all of Addington, to stand up. Thank you. You can have a seat. What we're asking for is your undivided attention. The purpose for us being here is that we're long-time residents of Addington Place. I was born here in Utica, grew up, went to the schools. Our families, have grown together. I have been on Addington Place going on 38 years. We have a number of others that have been there 30-something, 40-something years. And as a result of, we dealt with everything from gun violence to drugs and blah, blah, blah. You heard it all. Well, I have good news for you, because the good news is right now we're doing very well. We have great neighbors. Families can walk the streets. We understand what our kids are about. Our kids know each other and went to local schools, and they're doing well. Many of the residents, including myself, were making home improvements. So when we had homes that were boarded up, you guys remember when the city was burning down. I'm being facetious, but when there was a lot of fires in the city of Utica, and our street was no different. But now, neighbors say hi, and it's a wonderful thing, and don't walk in fear. What we're here for today is to talk about the street condition. I've been to 38 years and nothing's been done other than throw some asphalt in the hole. And over time, we're looking at not 1, not 2, but not 3 depths or delamination of the street. I understand that there's some funding. We're asking you to help us help you with our improvements that's taking place. And I take pride, and I think we all take pride in our street and our community. And believe it or not, we like each other. We like being together. So that's why we're here together. We're hoping that we can get you all to understand that the streetscape is important. We feel very strongly that moving forward into the future, that it will help not just with us individually, but us as a community and also the city. As the saying goes, one street at a time. We want to be one of those streets, at one street at a time. We're doing our part. We're hoping that we can get you officials to do the other. Over the years, we've had 3 petitions filed because of all the illegal activities and other behavior that was going on that took that kind of action. We had 11 neighbors who signed a petition. We actually came down and spoke with the former mayor, and the safety person, and the legal, and so forth. We've had 2 community sweeps within that time, I think in the last 15 years. We had the armadillo there, and with that said, we were able to get some things done, and now we're at a point where we feel like we just want to continue moving forward, and we ask for your support. Don't come and throw some aggregate in the hole, and then it doesn't stay. So like I said before, we had 1 layer of delamination, 2 layers of delamination, and 3. Thank you for your time.
Finish up, though. You can
Oh, I thought you were. Oh, okay. So we are interested in working with all of you. We're interested in having you come through. We, again, want to thank the police department, the sheriff, and so forth with the community sweep. He doesn't remember, but like 15 years ago, he actually stood in our living room and listened to us. And we had police presence when we, for a period of time that was very helpful to us, make us feel safe. And we do appreciate that, and we do want to say, thank you to the police department for that and for all the community sweeps.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Gene. Gene, my road is going over 35 years, so good luck, because I'm trying really hard myself. Next speaker, Stefan Rubisky. Stefan, Common Council has provided you a copy of Section 3244, Public Comment Period. Are you in full agreement?
Yes, I am.
Please state your name.
Stefan Rubitsky.
Thank you, Stefan.
Now, because of the devastation what happened in Rome the other day, up at the Shenantries Plaza, they're there till 9 p.m. There's a water donation drive for the people of Rome, New York, and they're there tomorrow from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. as well. So let's help out a neighbor, our fellow neighbors and community members, and help them get the supplies they need, and let's pray for the people of Rome, and if you can get up to Shenantries and get them some water. Thank you very much.
Thank you. There is no public hearing, no guest speaker, communication from the mayor. Just a quick thing from Mayor Galimi. Just wants, was really happy with the Boilermaker, the events of the weekend, and he was pleased. Report of city officers. We'll start with Captain Holt.
He's got nothing to report.
Deputy Chief Noonan.
Nothing to report, thank you.
Stephanie DeGiorgio, Corporation Counsel.
Nothing to report.
Chief Angersol, Fire Department.
I'd just like to echo what Stefan just brought up, and thinking about our neighbors there in Rome. I was in contact with the fire chief yesterday during the incident and after to see if they needed any assistance. Said they were doing well, handling what they had going on, but they have had a lot of devastation, and I wish them well in their recovery.
Thank you, Chief. City Engineer Nick Breidenbecker.
Yeah, I'd like to thank UFD, UPD, DPW, Parks Department for their work to get the Boilermaker. I was involved with it this year, and it's a lot of moving parts, and everybody did their part. And it was a hit. On the other note, paving starts tomorrow, North Utica. You'll be getting flyers on your doors, letting you know when to expect us, a day or two before we're in your neighborhood. Stay safe and try not to run my people over, please.
Thank you. Mark Sokolowski,
Yeah,
Commissioner of
just
Parks.
one little thing. Last night we had about 12 to 14 calls for trees down in North Utica. And us and DPW were out there last night till dark. And we went back out there today, got most of it, and we got a couple more. Tomorrow we're getting reports of South Utica and also a couple down on Jenny. Valley View, Switchbacks got hit pretty hard as well. So North Utica took a big hit all day yesterday. Like I said, we were out there. So the Parks and DPW were out there, and we did what we could do. That's all I got.
Thank you. Commissioner of Codes, Marcus Phillips.
Yeah, a few things. First, proud of the people of Paddington for coming here, advocating for their street. Try to work with Nick to get something done for them, but they're 100% right. The street's way better. It's down the street from me, and it's just night and day from even when I grew up, which was so long ago, 'cause I'm old now. They've really done a good job at turning that street around, so we'll see what we can do for them. Nick's committed to working on it. Also, I wanted to embarrass my newest employee, Ingrid Caserno. We just hired her. She's in the audience. You guys recognize her from council meetings. So she's our newest secretary to the commissioner. So let's embarrass Ingrid. Really active in the Colombian American community here, and does a lot of great things. So proud to have her. As far as codes goes, just comment on the effort of everybody in City Hall dealing with the rain events that have happened here. I mean, we didn't get the worst of it, obviously, but those events take a lot of work and a lot of people collectively busting their hump, and just impressed by what they did. So that's all.
Thank you.
Brian Thomas, Urban Renewal.
Nothing to report.
Thank you, Brian. Cash report.
City of Utica cash report for June 2024 is $35.653 million received and filed.
Petitions, remonstrances, and appeals. First District Council Member Katie Isle.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to Parks, DPW, first responders between Boilermaker weekend and now, of course, this weather this week. You guys have been going nonstop. So we just appreciate it. That's it.
Thank you. Third District Council Member Joe Bitar.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to echo what's been said about our various departments working seemingly around the clock this past weekend with the Boilermaker and the storm. So again, thank you. We are appreciative. And that's all I have for tonight. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Fourth.
It's just the same thing
Commissioner
everybody
Cohen?
else does. Boilermaker was just a great event, and it takes all the departments to do it, and they did a great job.
Thank you. Fifth District Council Member Venice Irvin.
Just want to thank the DPW department and the police department for the job they've done in District 5. I still encourage all of the people in my district to clean up in front of their houses and clean the little 40, 50 feet in front of their house. It'll make our district look a lot better, and we're working on it, and it's starting to look a lot better. I do talk to some people. I actually got out the car and yelled at some homeless people, and I probably shouldn't have did that because they probably could have called the police on me, but I saw them setting up a couch in the park and some other lounge chairs, and I was like, that ain't happening. You could sit over here. But, they're by the Hope House. So Hope House people actually have them cleaning up now, the park, and leaving the bags on the side of the street for DPW. So that's working out pretty good. And I think that's mostly I have. I don't know when Hoops and Dreams is, but that's coming up soon. So listen for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Sixth Ward Council Member Joe Beatrice.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to reiterate what Commissioner Sokolowski said. I want to thank those guys. They were out all over my area, got hit pretty good last night, and I got to give them credit. By this morning, most of the debris was picked up. They did a great job, and I just want to personally thank you. Also, Monday, the 22nd, is the North Utica meeting. The guest speaker will be Mary Finnegan from Oneida County Clerk's Office. I will not be there. I'll be on vacation next week, but I just wanted to let you guys know that 6:30, the North Utica Center. And lastly, I want to thank my fellow Boilermaker volunteers on the Finish Line crew. We did a great job like we always do over there. We put a lot of time and effort into it, and it's great team making. And so thank you again, and thanks everybody.
Thank you. Council Member at Large Mark Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have nothing to pass.
Thank you. Council Member at Large Samantha Carlissimo Testa.
Thank you, Mr. President. I obviously want to echo everyone's sentiments to the Parks Department, DPW, police. Obviously, a lot of work goes into the Boilermaker and making the city shine. and they did. So a job well done, another year in the books that everybody can look forward to. That is it, Mr. President. Thank you. And also, our thoughts and prayers are with Rome, New York. It was absolutely devastating because that could have been us these past couple of days, and it's very unfortunate. And I hope a speedy recovery to the city of Rome. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Member at Large, Jack Lamelico.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say my condolences and my prayers go to the people in Rome, New York. Just devastated. I saw all the pictures and everything, and I hope they get through it. And but that said, this Sunday I was there for the Boilermaker, and I was just so proud of the city of Utica and all the runners and all the volunteers and everyone that was involved in it. I went home with a smile on my face, thinking what a great job everybody did on it, and I can't wait till next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion to introduce proposed resolution number 1.
I'll second.
Authorizing sale of beer and wine to ICANN. Name of sponsor, ICANN. Name of event, Nicholas D. Lano Golf Classic. Date of event, Monday, August 5th, 2024, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Location, Valley View Golf Course, 620 Memorial Parkway, Utica, New York. Can I have your votes, please?
8 yeas adopted.
Motion to introduce proposed resolution number 2.
Make a motion.
Second. Whereas an offer to purchase 318.66-38, 318.66-39, 318.66-3.41, and 318.66.3.42 Miller Street. The URA previously approved 2 lots for sale to Impact Cornhill LLC, but these additional lots were omitted by clerical error, has been received by the Utica Urban Renewal Agency from the Impact of Cornhill LLC. Whereas the purchase price for this property is $0. Now therefore it be resolved that the Utica County Council will conduct the public hearing on Wednesday, August 7th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Your votes, please.
And I just want to state that it was the same from the 2022 legislation. Okay.
Eight yeas adopted.
Make the motion to put ordinance number
Motion.
3 in the committee.
Second.
Motion to introduce proposed resolution number 4.
Motion.
Second. Whereas the Utica Urban Renewal Agency is the owner of 318.8-1-41 Division Street, 318.8-1-42, 318.8-143, 318.8-147 Water Street, 318.8-145, 14-18, 26 through 28, and 30 through 34 Whitesboro Street. Whereas the option price for this property for 3-year term is $77,500. Now therefore it be it resolved that the Utica County Council will conduct a public hearing on Wednesday, August 7th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Your votes, please.
8 yeas adopted.
Proposed ordinance number 5, commit. Place in committee. Okay. Motion to introduce proposed ordinance number 6.
Motion.
Second. Yeah, no parking at all times, be it ordained that section 2-16360 scheduled E, no parking at all times on Broadway. Existing no parking signage must be removed on Broadway between Columbia Street and Hannah Park Drive. Your votes, please.
8 yeas adopted.
Motion to introduce proposed ordinance number 7.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you.
no parking at all times. Be it ordained that section 2-16360, scheduled E, no parking at all times. Votes, please.
8 yeas adopted.
Motion to introduce proposed ordinance number 8.
Motion?
Thank you.
Second.
Second.
Yep. Be it ordained section 2-16361, scheduled F, no parking during certain hours, State Street East Side between Lafayette Street and Oriskany Street West, 3:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. State Street West Side from Court Street to Oriskany Street West, 4 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. State Street West Side from Oriskany Street West to Columbia Street, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Existing no parking signage for the above locations must be removed. Votes, please.
8 yeas adopted.
Motion to introduce proposed ordinance number 9.
Thank you.
Thank you. Be it ordained, section 2-16360, scheduled no parking at all times on Broadway along western curb line to point 35 feet north of Court Street. This legislation is needed to accommodate the left turn lane which exists on Broadway at the Court Street intersection. Votes, please.
8 yeas adopted.
Motion to introduce proposed ordinance number 10.
Second.
Thank you. Be it ordained, section 2-16360, schedule D, no parking at all times. Cornelia Street along the western curb line from Court Street to point 35 feet southerly of Aiken Street. This legislation is needed due to narrow roadway. Votes, please.
8 yeas adopted.
Motion to introduce proposed ordinance number 11. Be it ordained, section 2-16360, scheduled E, no parking at all times on the northern curb line of Columbia Street from the pedestrian crosswalk to a point 112 feet west to the first marked parking space. This legislation allows for tractor-trailer access to the delivery dock for the Delta Hotel. Traffic survey was completed. Can I have your votes, please?
8 yeas adopted.
Motion to introduce proposed ordinance number 12.
Thank you. Thank
Be
you.
ordained, section 2-16360, schedule D, no parking at all times on Columbia Street, 113 feet west of the intersection of Broadway along the northern curb line, no parking anytime, allows for tractor-trailer access and delivery and loading dock for the hospital. Votes, please.
Mr. President, do we need a motion to amend to add this sponsored by, or full council, did we?
Have a motion?
I'll second that.
Motion for full council?
Yep. Motion to introduce proposed.
Did you read this?
Yeah, I just read it. Votes, please.
8 yeas adopted.
Motion to introduce proposed ordinance number 13.
Motion?
Second?
Second. Is that full council?
And motion for full council?
Yeah, they asked for it.
Yeah, full council then for this too.
Gotta do the same thing, huh?
Yeah. Motion to amend for full council?
Second? Proposed ordinance number 13. Be it ordained, section 2-16379, schedule X fire lanes, Wynn Hospital, a lane 15 feet in width on the roadway which affronts Wynn Hospital on the Columbia Street side of the hospital building. The fire lane will commence 113 feet from the intersection with Broadway and 356 feet from the intersection of State Street along the northern curb line. Fire lanes are already marked on the roadway. However, no parking fire lane signs must be added. Votes, please.
8 yeas adopted.
Motion to introduce proposed resolution number 14.
Motion?
Thank you.
Thank you. Authorizing sale of beer and wine to St. Mary of Mount Carmel Blessed Sacrament Parish. Whereas the sale of alcoholic beverages in possession of an open container containing alcohol beverages is prohibited on the Utica City streets, sidewalks, playgrounds, parks, and the right of way of ordinance of the Common Council, except in certain instances where permission is granted. Be it resolved that permission to sell beer and wine and the exemption from the provisions of Section 21543. Name of sponsor, St. Mary of Mount Carmel, Blessed Sacrament Parish. Parish Festival, date of event Friday, July 19th, Saturday, July 20th through 21st, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Location, St. Mary of Mount Carmel, Blessed Sacrament Parish, 648 J Street, Utica, New York. Votes, please.
8 yeas adopted.
Motion. Motion to introduce proposed resolution number 14.
Motion?
Name of sponsor, Santa Rosia Society. Name of event, Santa Rosia Festival. Date of event, Friday, August 23rd, 2024, 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. Saturday, August 24th, 2024, 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. Sunday, August 25th, 2024, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Location, Santa Rosalia Chapel, 701 J Street, Utica, New York.
8 yeas adopted.
Motion to introduce proposed ordinance number 16.
Thank you. Yes, it is.
Historic preservation grant for the Silas D. Childs Chapel and the other historic structures at Forest Hill Cemetery. Votes, please.
8 yeas adopted.
Motion to introduce proposed resolution number 17.
Motion?
Second.
Thank you.
Resolution approving intermunicipal agreement with the county for habitability inspections for temporary housing. Votes, please.
8 yeas adopted.
Motion to introduce proposed resolution number 18.
Motion?
There has to be an amendment.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, the public hearing's gonna be at the August meeting.
September 4th.
So,
I thought we said September.
if I may, Mr. President. So the memo from Corporation Counsel recommended 6 weeks' time in between from the point of passing to the public hearing in order, I believe, for the planning board to have adequate time to review.
Right, so
I
we gotta
think-
call for the public hearing in the August meeting so that you can pass it. And what if it's a,
Well, I think the idea
So-
was per the memo, if Corporation Counsel wants to.
So planning board we won't have an opportunity for planning board to hear it until the
Our
August meeting.
when's their August meeting?
It's the third weekend.
Yeah, the third Thursday. I don't have the date.
So you can call for it tonight, but you gotta call for the meeting to actually have the public hearing, so then you can vote on it for the September meeting.
Third Thursday is the 15th. Do you need that date or?
No, so that's when planning board will meet, so whatever your first meeting is in September will be fine to suffice.
Fourth.
So if you call for the public hearing on the 4th, that should give planning board enough time to do what they need to do and
September
then
4th.
Yep.
get it back to
Okay,
you.
September 4th, make a motion.
It's 7 p.m.
At 7 PM.
Second. Okay. Resolution providing public hearing on the discontinuance of Cornelia Street for the resolve that for such purpose, the common council should conduct a public hearing on the proposed ordinance at its regular meeting on September 4th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Votes, please.
Same. Yep. 8 yeas adopted.
Motion to introduce proposed ordinance number 19.
Motion?
Motion to
Hearing
commit.
committee, please.
Second.
Second.
Thank you.
A motion to introduce proposed resolution number 20.
Motion?
Second.
Yeah, it's the, They said that
Yeah.
September 4th.
Yeah, so proposed resolution number 20, authorizing sale of beer and wine to Soul on Soul 112 Restaurant?
Yep.
Okay, Soul 112 Restaurant, Luau Cookout, Saturday, July 20th, 2024, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., Liberty Park, 158 Genesee Street, Utica, New York.
I'll move it.
8 yeas adopted.
Motion to introduce proposed resolution number 21. Second. Resolution approving and endorsing Munson in its application to New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation for historic restoration of Fountain Elms.
That's full council, right?
Correct. Mr. President, I believe we'll need a motion to waive the Thursday rule with this piece.
Thank you.
No second.
Second, thank you.
Votes?
Eight yeas adopted.
Motion to introduce proposed ordinance number 22. Motion. Second. Yeah, ordinance waiving residency requirement for the position of office manager, whereas Christina Briggs is employed by the city of Utica as an office manager in the assessor office, whereas Ms. Briggs is currently employed with the city since April 10th, 2023, is an asset to the department, whereas the individual currently resides in Utica but recently purchased a home in Frankfort, New York, and is looking to relocate, whereas Ms. Briggs would like to reside outside the city limits, whereas of the Utica City Charter authorizes the Common Council by ordinance to waive the residency requirement. Now it be resolved that the Common Council of the City of Utica does hereby relieve Ms. Briggs of the residency requirements of the Utica City Charter. Further ordained, this waiver applies to the individual in this position only and will not be applicable to any future applicants for the position unless otherwise determined by the ordinance of the Common Council. Your votes, please.
8 yeas adopted.
Motion to introduce proposed ordinance number 23. Second.
Aye.
Authorizing sale of beer and wine to Taylor and the Cook. Taylor and the Cook luncheon and wine tasting event, Sunday, July 28th, 2024, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Bags Tavern Park, 301 Main Street, Utica, New York. Votes, please.
Eight yeas adopted.
Motion to introduce proposed ordinance number 24.
Motion. Second, thank you.
Ordinance amending section 2-297, the zoning code entitled definitions, whereas the Common Council added a new definition, neighborhood convenience stores, on April 5th, 2024. Whereas after further review, it is necessary to clarify the intent of the council and correct the typographical error. Can I have? Yep. Neighborhood convenience store, a retail sales business with less than 6,000 square feet of gross floor area devoted in whole or part to the sale of food and beverages, prepackaged food, alcohol, tobacco, or lottery sales to be used and consumed primarily off the premises, excluding the establishments that dispense of gasoline or any other motor vehicle fuels. Further ordained that this ordinance shall take effect immediately. Your votes, please.
Mr. President, do we need a motion to waive the Thursday rule with this piece and number 25 as well? Or-
No, this is from law,
Okay.
so this is good. Thank you.
Thank you. Votes, please.
8 yeas adopted.
A motion to introduce proposed ordinance number 25.
Motion. Second, thank you.
Yeah, ordinance amending section 214 neighborhood convenience store, smoke shop, certificate of use of the City of Utica Code of Ordinances. a retail sales business with less than 6,000 square feet of gross floor area devoted in whole or part to the sale of food and beverages, prepackaged food, alcohol, tobacco, or lottery sales to be used and consumed primarily off the premise, excluding an establishment that dispense of gasoline or any other motor vehicles, fuels. Your votes, please.
8 yeas adopted.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to dispense of proposed ordinance number 5, sale of URA property dated 1/17/2024. And then I've got to make another motion to pull.
Is there any opposed to that?
I got to make another motion to pull proposed resolution number 3, school district tax collection out of committee. It's a resolution approving an intermunicipal agreement for the tax collection of services and release.
Okay. Yeah, resolution number 3, an audit into the appropriation of spending in.
Nope, that's the wrong one. Proposed ordinance number 3 of 6/28/2024.
Yeah. Resolution approving intermunicipal agreement for tax collection service and release. Whereas the City of Utica's Controller's Office historically has collected the Utica City School District taxes, and whereas the City of Utica and Utica City School District have agreed to continue the collection of school taxes by the City of Utica on behalf of the Utica City School District, and whereas the parties agree with the intermunicipal agreement is in the best interest of both the City of Utica and the Utica City School District to accomplish these objectives, and be it resolved that the intermunicipal agreement by and between the City of Utica and the Utica City School District is substantially the same form as attached hereto is hereby approved, and further resolved, the mayor is authorized to execute the intermunicipal agreement and any other documents necessary to effectuate this resolution. Votes, please.
8 yeas adopted.
Motion to adjourn.